Good morning. Okay, welcome to our English Maritime course. So we are now on our day 2 on our week 40. So this is your instructor, Elaine. So we were going to discuss today is about the some maritime English for medical emergencies. So again, so we all know that the medical emergency are very high risk events, and communication can be failure and can be very fatal. So the goal is to have a master the standardized the maritime communication phrases for the medical scenarios. So here's our discussion will be about the maritime English for the medical emergencies. So but first, why we need to standardize the English or the English language? So the language barrier is deadly risk in the maritime industry because it can lead to a miscommunication, confusion, and also the delay of reactions. So, particularly during the emergencies. So, this one can also result in a serious accidents or a loss of life. So, with the increasingly diverse truths, misunderstandings can arise from different languages, cultural interpretations of gestures and body language, and lack of a common operational language. So, they often use English, which can also compromise the safety protocols and operational efficiencies. So, how these language barriers can be a risk to the maritime industry or in the vessel. So, first, I have here what you can see is about the misinterpretation of the instruction because conflicts or unclear instruction can lead to a wrong actions, especially under pressure or during the incident or emergencies. So here, so because the language barrier, it can create problems of miscommunication, such as the misunderstanding, misinterpretation of messages, distorted messages, or misinformation, confusion or mistrust, and weak and wrong feedback. So those. So the best strategy to promote an effective communication and get the message across is to bridge the language barriers. So we're going, how do we do that? So we simply um we you going to use a simple, clear, concrete, and accurate, and also familiar and meaningful words. So this one we're going to avoid some grammatical and spelling mistakes. Another one is the embedded emergency responses. So this one, it is the during the critical situations like the fires and coalitions, sorry, and a lack of clear and mass communication can be disastrous as people may revert to their native tongue or causing the chaos. Another reason that we have here is the compromised safety. So the procedure, misunderstandings can lead to critical failures and executing the safety procedures as crew member may not fully grasp the danger or the correct responses. And last reason is the cultural differences. So even when a common language is used, different culture backgrounds can cause a misunderstandings of nonverbal cues leading to friction and miscommunications. So I have here some list of contributing factors. So first we have the multilingual crews. So the common practice of hiring crews from many different nationalities to work on a single vessel increases the likelihood of a language barrier. Next is the lack of common language. So while English is often the intended common language, proficiency levels vary significantly. So, and many seafarers, there are lack of necessary skills, creating a major gap in communication. Next is the overemphasizes the technical skills. So in maritime education, sometimes they prioritize the technical trainings over the communications and management skills. So this one, this is a very crucial for the safety. It will give an impact also in the language barrier. Another one is the varying the levels of the English proficiency. So maritime English has specific terms and a misunderstanding of even a small part of it can have a significant consequences. So these are the contributing factors for the to have a language barrier. Again, multilingual crews, lack of common language, overemphasizes the technical skills over the communication skills, and varying the levels of the English proficiency. So, how are we going to cope up or release some of those barriers or the language barriers? So, I have here some mitigating strategies. So, first is to standardize the communication protocols. So, implementing the clear, standardized communication protocols can help to reduce the ambiguity. And next, of course, is to enhance training. So, maritime education should include a mandatory and comprehensive training in the maritime English and communication skills for all the seafarers. Next is this use of the simple and clear language. So crew members should be trained to use a simple, clear, and concrete language, avoiding the jargons and ambiguous terms. Then another strategies can be used is the confirmations and feedback. So systems for confirming that you understand and providing the feedback are very essential to prevent the misunderstandings. So it's very simple that your feedback, it will just give a signal that you understand clearly what are the someone is saying. Next is use a translation tools. So in the modern translation tools can assist in communication but are not a substitute for a proper language proficiency. So in a informal event and not, I think not an urgency situations, you can use some translation tool just to have your piece to understand clearly what is the word or they trying to say. So all you have to remember that multicultural cruise communication breakdown is a major factor in maritime incidents. And then, high stakes environment, meaning that the medical emergencies, it requires a precise and ambiguous language. Next is the external assistance. So, communication with the VTS, Coast Guards, or telemedical services, it requires a common tongue. So here we have now the standardized the standard marine communication phrases. So it will explain that SMCP is mandatory and it is not the complex grammar but using a simple pre-approved sentences just to avoid the cultural slang or misinterpretations. So every sentence should be short, structured, and delivered one key piece of information. So here it is the IMO or what we call the International Maritime Organization. So here the SMCP it standardizes the set of English phrases developed by the International Marine or the IMO organization to enhance the safety of the sea by preventing the miscommunications. So I have here some list of the purposes and features of the SMCP. So we all know that SMCP overall is a critical safety related verbal communication between the ships or with the shore facilities and among the multinational crews on board. So here, so prevent the misunderstanding. So the SMCP it addresses the problem of language barriers which can lead to accident at the sea. Another one is the enhancing the safety. So by this, it provides a clear, concise instructions for emergency and the routine operations. Another one is the standardization because it ensures the consistent terminology across the international maritime industry. So this one, it is especially important during the emergency when time is crucial. Another one is the simplified ni structure. So the phrases used for block language, which omits a unnecessarily words like a, or the, to minimize the variety and simplify the messages. So here the message markers is for the external radio communication. So specific message marker can use at the start of a message just to indicate its purpose. So I have here some 8 standard markers. So first is the instruction. So an order, in an order for a vessel to take a specific actions. Another one is advice. So this is the recommendation for a vessel's master or officers. The next one is what we call the warnings. So that this is the message to alert the vessel to a potential hazard. Another one is the information. So this is the important factual data. And next is the question. So this is the query seeking the information or asking something more clearly to the information. And next is what we call the answer. So the answer is the reply to a previous question. And then the request. So this is the request is the information or a message asking assistance or information. And next we have what they call lastly the intention. So this is the statement of an action to the speaker plans to take. So again, we have here the 8 standard markers. So first is we have what we call the instructions, the advice, the warnings, the informations, question, answer, request, and lastly, what we call the intention. So I have here the distress, urgency, or safety. So this discussed already with you guys in the first day. So this is the following signals that used to precede the information or the important messages. So I have here the first one is what we call the Mayday. So Mayday, it announces the distress messages for a life-threatening situations. Next is we have what we call the Panpan. So Panpan, it indicates the urgency message concerning the vessel or personal safety. And next and lastly is what we call the security. Security is announces the safety messages with important navigational warning. So you can see the level of urgency here. The Mayday is the life-threatening situations. while the pan-pan is concerning a vessel of personal safety. And then the security, it's about the important navigational warning. So it can also a meteorological or weather forecast, something like that. So I have here some simple example as the SMCP during the emergency. So here, I am sinking. Please proceed to my assistance. So very clear, very distinct. Fire in the engine room. Man overboard to standboard. So these are the emergency situations. Next is during the navigational or maneuvering. And then we have here the command standby aid engine, or it can be a response engine standing by. It can be also a command steer course 270 degrees. And then the response is steering 270 degrees. So these are, for example, for the maneuvering or navigations. We also have here some examples for the external communication. So we have here, for example, the request is say again, please. And then the correction is my present speed is 1 4 knots mistake. Correction, my present speed is 1 2 knots. So these are the examples for the external communications. So here, as you can see on my screen, I have here some phonetic alphabets and numbers. This is the standard NATO phonetic alphabet and specified pronunciation for numbers are used in the SMCP just to ensure the clarity, especially over the radio. So sometimes you can hear how they spell the name of the vessel. So for example, we have the Joy. The name of the vessel is Joy. So you can say it clearly that Juliet, Juliet, Oscar, Yankee. So that's how you don't say Joy, but instead you're going to say it by this phonetic alphabet. So I have here C, Charlie, Bravo, Alpha, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Golf, Hotel, India, like that, and so much more. So here it's very simple that the important it develops by the IMO to replace the C-speak. A comprehensive set of phrases for essential safety-related communication. So including the emergencies. And then it also focuses on a simple and direct sentences structure. I want to show. So next is about those responders on board medically. So those onboard medical responders in the maritime industry is typically designated by the crew members who provide the initial medical care. So, as most of the commercial vessel do not have a doctor on board. So, this role is very crucial for handling the emergencies and relies on the medical manuals, equipments, and telemedical assistance to consult with a shore-based doctor. So here is the key aspects of these roles. So first, of course, the training. So the all seafarers, they required a mandatory STCW or basic first aid training. So this one, it includes the skills like the CPR, bleeding control, shock management, and using the emergency kits. So more or like the senior officer designated for the medical care that must undergo the further training meetings, the standards of the International Convention on Standards of Trainings and Certificates, or what we call the STCW. Next is the responsibilities. So the primary responsibility is to provide the immediate or the on-the-spot care for injuries or illnesses. So this includes a administering the first aid, managing the emergencies, and following procedures that outline in the ship's safety and emergency plan. And then there's also some support. So the telemedicine is a crucial component in the maritime healthcare. So this one, it allowing the seafarers and the onboard responders to consult with a shore-based doctors for advice or diagnosis. Sometimes it's also treatment and management of the condition. Another one is the resources. So the the responders, they rely on the medical supplies which are mandated to be on board in accordance with the international medical guide for the ships. And then international company regulation. So this one, it is specific duties depends on the ship or the length of the journey and the company policies. So all of which must comply with the international regulations like the ILO and the STCW conventions. So this one is the responsibilities and the procedures. So first, of course, the initial assessment. So the responders must quickly assess the patient's conditions, gather medical history, and take some immediate action such as controlling the bleeding or moving the persons to a safety place. And then the basic first aid. So you should provide immediate care for the injuries like the minor fractures, burns, and wounds using the ship supplies and following guidelines for a medical manual. Next is the leveraging the telemedicine. So, for the serious situations, the responders must activate the telemedical maritime assistance services or what we call the TMAS to conduct with a remote doctor. So, this is a vital step as they may need an expert advice on diagnosis and the treatment. Oh, and then next is the using the medical guides. So you need to follow the established procedures and use the ship's medical guide, which designed for use by a non-medical personnel to ensure that the best possible outcome. And next is the monitoring the follow-up. So you need to manage and monitor the chronic conditions for our crew members, such as the blood pressure or blood sugar level, and follow ups on the injuries and illnesses. So here I have some key resources for the responders. So first is what we call again the TMAS or the TMAS, the Telemedical Maritime Assistance Services. So So this is the critical resource for the remote medical advice, guidance, and expertise from a shore-based doctor. And next is the medical guides for the ships. So medical guide for the ships. This is the international regulations that required a commercial vessel to carry a medical guide. So these modern guides use for a clear language, visual aids, and step-by-step instructions for a wide range of medical situations. And next is the medical equipment and supplies. So this is that the ship medical chest must be well stocked according to the international regulations to support the onboard medical care. And next is the communication tools. So the vessels must have a reliable communication tools such as the satellites, phones or radios to connect with the TMAS and other emergency services. So I have here now the importance of the training and the coordination. So first reason one is the medical training. So this one is the quality of the care that provides directly linked to the medical trainings of the designated crew members. So next is the team effort. So meaning that even with the designated responders, uh, a medical incident is often a team effort, and the ship's captains remains ultimately responsible for the health of the seafarers. And lastly, of course, the coordination. So, the effective medical care is a chain of survival. that requires a coordinations between the onboard responder and the TMAs and any rescue services involved. So the key points here now is of course the first is the medic and the first aider. So it often designated the crew member. And next is about the communication task that must clearly rely on the symptoms, treatment given, and the patient status to shore the doctors. And lastly, the SMCP applications. So using the correct terminology to avoid the misinterpretation of the patient data. So here, as you can see here, I have here now what we call the medical priorities or the ABC of the communications. Mommy, done. Done. So this one is the about the communications, the what we call the sorry the ABC communications. So this the ABC is a or the ABC of a support that also the ABCs of the medical communication. So the shore-based doctors will always ask about these three first to ensure that the radio transmission reflects this priority. So this ABC also can be the airway, breathing, and the circulations. But this time, So in maritime medical emergency, the priority of the communication is based on the severity of the situations. So the following the ABCs of alerting and broadcasting and coordinating the medical assistance and conveying the informations. So first we have a alerting. So meaning A is for alerting. So this one is to get the immediate attention for a life-threatening situations. So how are you going to do this? So this will be the action needed is send a distress call on a designated emergency frequency. And then you can use the words or the term, the Mayday Mayday or the Pan Pan or security, security, security. So, it initiate the search and rescue operations. So, B is for broadcasting. So this one, it is to inform the other vessels of a serious medical situations that may not be a life-threatening emergency but requiring an urgent assistance. So the urgency signal can be a pan-pan to broadcast that you need for a help. So earlier, for alerting, we use the word Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. This one is the pan-pan. So this one, so the pan-pan, you speak the word pan-pan 3 times, followed by the all stations 3 times, and then your ship's name, call sign, position, and the nature of the medical informations. So I will give you an example of these pan-pan messages.
Pan pan, pan pan, pan pan. This is sailing vessel Windstar, sailing vessel Windstar, sailing vessel Windstar. Call sign Echo Victor Golf 321, MMSI 232 099 803. My position is 40 degrees 33.42 north, 3 degrees 45.46 west. I am aground. I require tug assistance. Over.
So that's it, the example of the pan-pan messages. So this one, it alerts the other vessel, coastal station, and rescue coordination center to your situations. So this one is allowing them to provide some assistance. So lastly is the coordination or coordinating. So this one is to coordinate with the medical personnel on shore to get the expert advice for the patient's treatment. So this one, it requires the action that designated with the special access code or the SAC that via in an Inmarsat system. So it will be connected with the telemedical assistance services. So by this, it allows to remote the diagnosis treatment advice, and the coordinations for the potential medical evacuations. So I have here some additional communication protocols. So as I said earlier, the SMCP used the IMO standard marine communication phrases to ensure the clear, concise, and university understood communication, especially when there are language barrier. And then the radio medical advice. So you're going to use the word pan pro words for the urgent medical calls. We also have here some ay, the telemedicine. So this is the modern technology that allows the telemedicine, which uses the satellite and the internet connection to provide the remote video and the audio communications with the medical experts ashores or in the shores. We we also have here the safety communication. So these are the other communication such as the safety messages, the security, that given priority to overcome the communications but not over distress or urgency messages. Next is the emergency contact. So we have here that you need to contact the nearest rescue coordination center or the RCC for assistance and the coordinating in the medical evacuations for the vessel at the sea. So lastly is this about the prioritizations or prioritizations. So first, you need to prioritize the distress calls. So the distress call is the highest priority. We have here next the urgency communication. So meaning this is the second and the highest priority. And then next is the safety communication. So this is the third highest priority. And then the lowest priority is what we call the routine communications. So again, we have here some levels of the priorities. The distress calls, the urgency communications, the safety communications, and then the routine communications. So that will be all for today. So we will be having a continuations about this medical emergencies in the maritime English. So again, this is your instructor Elaine, and I hope you learned something about for today's discussions.